Hi, and welcome back to whatever this is still for now. Let's talk beyond the ice, beyond the rink. I'm Olivia Smart, and this is episode 3. It's my sick voice. We're running with that intro because it's going to take us too long today because I am sick and my brain is foggy. I'm in the phase of season changes, sickness, travel, God knows what, and I'm just trying to keep up with it because I still have to go through my season of training and competing. So in the times when I'm not at the rink and training right now, I'm at home dressed like this, in my nap sweater, cuddling Miss Linda and drinking all the tea I possibly can. I have a raspy voice now. It sounds very sexy. I'm also sweating. So today I want to talk about more what Olivia loves and what I do off the ice, and also recap last weekend's Halloween costumes because that was a highlight. Jean-Luc and I started with our Halloween traditions as of last year. We dressed up as Donkey, Fiona, and Linda was SpongeBob. So there wasn't so much of a family theme there with that. But we went on a dog walk and it got people smiling, and it was a really fun thing for us to do on a Wednesday night in the middle of my training week. And Jean-Luc loves holidays, loves celebrating them, loves dressing up. This guy has a costume box. So we have to celebrate Halloween, of course. So this year we really had to incorporate what our family look was going to be. And I looked at Linda and I was like, oh my God, Dobby. It's just written on her forehead. It's perfect. Literally. The ears, it makes sense. And it's not a difficult costume. Pillowcase, cut some holes into it, put it on her. Boom. So then figuring out who Jean-Luc and I are around that also wasn't so difficult. Me with my bleach blonde locks, Draco Malfoy. Easy. And Jean-Luc, Voldemort, kind of made sense. So the bald cap, all that jazz. Anyway, we got dressed up for Halloween. We didn't have any plans other than to go to Linda's daycare boarding place and go in our costumes, hang out there for a little bit, and then go for dinner. Casual Halloween night dinner. Anyway, we went to dinner and nobody else was dressed up other than the servers. So we looked like idiots, but also the servers loved it. There was people at the restaurant doing the whole hey, look, but don't make it obvious. And Jean-Luc, I'd just catch him at one point just staring at the person. And I'm like, babe, who are you looking at? He's like, I'm trying to scare this person over here. Because he's literally sat at dinner, full face of white makeup, nose tape, hood up, hands down, the funniest thing. We really enjoyed our Halloween costume look altogether. And being able to go to Linda's daycare and boarding, where we literally rely on her going for her playtime, was really fun. They had a costume dog contest, and they made it a fun tradition as well for themselves. Hi, Linda. Come here. Linda, you were doing so good. No, don't leave me. Hi. So I want to talk a little bit about where we got Miss Linda from, because Miss Linda is also a fan favorite on my socials and a very big part in my life and my little family's life. So I've always had a deep connection and love for dogs and animals ever since I was a kid. It's actually one of my lifelong dreams to have my own dog shelter in the future on the farm that we have in England. My grandma's love for animals and dogs is what I think sparked this, and I've planted the seed with her of, hey, now that we have the land on our farm and our house in England, what if we open up our own dog shelter one day? And Nanan, if you're watching this, I still want to do that. Dogs have just always been a huge part of my life in terms of emotional therapy and having that support and love when you come home, especially through my skating career. Coming home from a long day of training or a hard week or just any emotional aspect in life, coming home to a companion that just is full of love and only wants to give you love and is wagging their tail when you walk through the door, that is a huge thing for me and such a game changer. You'll be laid on your sofa or laid in your bed crying, and they know. They have this special connection to you, and They're very smart animals, especially this one. The Doberman is a new breed for me, and it's really opened my eyes. They're smarter than me, way smarter than me. This girl could run laps around me. I've always had dogs in my life, and when I moved to Montreal, I actually had two beagles called Duke and Jackson. They were my pride and joy. They were the most comedic, inseparable, loving boy dogs you could possibly imagine. They were, I don't know, my best friends, my sons. And I got them when I first got to Montreal, and I had them for 8 years here. And it was known as me with Duke and Jax walking down the street with two boy beagles that were literally like joined at the hip. I would take them everywhere with me. I would take them to cafes. I would take them to restaurants. They were like people dogs. They loved everybody and everybody loved them. So they were my first like, oh, see, this Linda. See, this is what I've been doing for the past couple of days while I've been sick, and now you all get to see it. This is therapy. This is free therapy. Actually, no, you're not free. You're not free. You're really expensive. Hey, baby. Thank you. I had my two beagles for around 8 years, and it wasn't until I left for Dancing on Ice, or I got my job on Dancing on Ice, I had to decide, okay, I'm leaving Montreal for 8 months. I need a plan. Like, what am I going to do with my two dogs? And I didn't feel like it was the right thing to leave them in Montreal for 8 months with somebody. That feels like a really long time. So I managed to figure out a way to travel with them, to get them over to the UK with me. Also because my family's house is full of land, full of farmland, horses, and just like free open space. And I have two beagles at this point. Beagles are hunting dogs, like born to be outside hunting and in the wild. And I'm like, they would love it. And I always thought this while I had them. And when my parents moved into this new house, I would have loved to have taken them one day. And then I had the chance to. Also, traveling with dogs is not as easy as you would expect, especially if you can't take them in the cabin with you and like on board. I did unfortunately have to put them in cargo, which was one, terrifying, but two, I worked with a company that really helped, I don't know, settle my nerves and teach me everything I needed to know about the process before we booked it and it all happened. So finally, I got my beagles to the UK with me while I was there for Dancing on Ice, and they thrived. They thrived. They were like off leash for the first time, properly running around, and I don't think they've put a leash on since. Like, they are living their best old man retirement life. Long story short, I'm back in Montreal after Dancing on Ice, and I left my two boys in the UK. I had to make the tough decision with my mom and dad of leaving them there. It was actually them that suggested it because, I don't know, they had an upgraded life. They were no longer living in an apartment, going on 2 scheduled walks a day. They were living their best life and still are to this day. And I didn't want to take that away from them. So the selfless part of me left to come back to Montreal without my boys. And I walked back into my apartment alone, empty, no dogs running towards me with wagging tails. It was really lonely. Like, for somebody that spent their whole life so far living with dogs, having dogs to come home to, or an animal in general, it was really, really quiet. And I don't like quiet that much. Or I like quiet with you, or a dog in general. Hey, baby. So I went through this period of coming back to Montreal. I got back into training, and this is when I first started skating with Tim. And it was so weird for me to just have and live my daily life with no dog. Even just waking up in the morning and not having to go on a dog walk. Like, I barely went outside because I didn't have my dogs. So there was just a completely different lifestyle switch because of it. So I did some research that summer, and I found this company called RAD, which stands for Rescue All Dogs. And they're a adoption fostering community here in Montreal that have also stretched out to Los Angeles. And they were quite known back then when I first found them. And I reached out just for their fostering program, just because I always heard of what fostering was, but it was never, I don't know, super pulled to it or keen to trying it. But I was desperate. I wasn't in a place to get another dog and commit to having another full companion. But the idea of fostering for the summer time that I had before I got busy with competitions and stuff seemed like something that was totally up my alley. Next thing you know, I'm fostering a dog called Arthur. This dog was a game changer for me. He was this this dog was so different to any dog that I've ever had before. He was this huge, thick, lanky boxer pit bull mix. He was the cutest thing, but also very untrained, a puppy, was just abandoned as the dog he was and didn't have a family and was left. And this company had rescued him and he was looking for a family. He was looking for a long-term home. And fostering is where you take on the dog and you adopt them for a little while and you take them into your home, you train them, and you give them a home for the time being so they're not just stuck in a kennel. And then eventually when the dog is trained, they'll go up for adoption on the website, and then applicants will hopefully adopt this dog. I unfortunately had Arthur for a really, really long time. I had him for the full summer, and then I started competing. And then there was a few weeks where I wasn't competing, and they reached out to me again and asked if I could have him for a little while. And he was in and out of my care for over a year. It took him a really, really long time to get adopted, which was bizarre because he was the cutest thing. I would get stopped on the street with him. People were in awe with him. He was such a friendly dog. It was really sad for me to give him back and then to take him back again and then give him back. And that was a lot of confusion for him as well. So I fell in love with that process, but it was really difficult. But also something new I wanted to try, and also something that I would have to eventually get used to if I had my own dog shelter or animal shelter in the future. You're taking on these dogs and then just giving them away. But luckily to their forever homes. Long story short, Arthur got adopted to a great family close by to here, and he has the backyard of his dreams, the family that he loves, and he's adopted. Linda is also from the same place. Linda came from Rad. John-Luc and I were at a chalet for a little weekend getaway for ourselves, and they posted these two dogs that were looking for fosters. These two dogs were from LA. They were in a euthanization center, and Rad had got them from LA over to Montreal within 48 hours. In those 48 hours, they reached out to me and asked if I was available to foster. I think it was like August time, so I wasn't competing yet, but I was competing in a couple of months. Anyway, they reached out and asked if I could foster for a couple of weeks. And I was like, oh, that's not so bad. Like, can you show me the dog? John-Luc and I haven't had a dog together yet at this point. He met Arthur, but wasn't around him 24/7 yet. John-Luc has a slight fear of dogs, or as I should say, had a slight fear of dogs. So, of course, I had to run this past him because the dog that they sent us a picture of was Linda, who is a Doberman. And they're not the most friendliest looking dogs. Or should I say, some of them, due to, I think, just the reputation that they've gained over the years, even though they are literally the softest, most gentle, silly beings in the dog breed world. And especially Linda with her floppy ears, it gives her that character of looking like Linda. I don't even know what to call her. Anyway, so John-Luc agreed to fostering this dog, and I hadn't fostered in a little while at this point since I had Arthur. Next thing you know, we're back from the chalet, and Linda's at our door. And the day we got Linda, she was terrified. She was tiny, skinny, malnourished, afraid of every single little thing that moved, breathed, touched her, anything. She was a completely different dog to what she is now. And just the process of seeing her from day one to how she is now is magnificent. Like the journey she's gone on in growth and confidence is crazy. And Linda came, like I said, from a euthanization center. They said she was days away from being euthanized, and looking at where her life is now and what she has now is very different. They told us that she didn't know how to play with toys, and we were like, what do you mean? You would hold a toy in front of her face and she'd look at it like, what is this? Like, what do I do with this? She didn't know how to take stairs. We had to literally teach her how to take stairs, like putting one paw up in front of the other, showing her. And she learned from watching us do it. She was scared to go in the elevator, which was really tough because we lived on the 4th floor in our old place, which required us taking the elevator. It took some time. It took some breathing room. It took a lot of patience, a lot of training. And by week 2, Linda was a different dog. She was attached to us and we were attached to her. And we were not planning on adopting. We were not planning on getting a dog. That was not in our life agenda at this point. We had a very busy season that year, both John Luke and I, in different ways, and we were like, we don't have time. Being an athlete that travels, working, and having the schedule that I do, having a dog is very demanding for everybody that I know that I train with and also competes. Like, having a dog does take over your life in a way or another, but it's also a very rewarding thing to have in your life. So if you can manage it, it's so worth it. We got to a point where Rad reached out and they're like, hey, like Linda's adoption is about to be Linda's profile is about to be posted online for her to be adopted. Like, are you guys ready? And we're like, babe, like, are we really gonna let her go? Like, is this what we're gonna do? We had to sit and think, like, really carefully about what we wanted to do with this, because I don't think either of us were ready to let her go, especially John Luke, because I had already said bye to Arthur and kind of had that connection be taken away from me, but for the right reasons. But this was the first time John Luke fostered with me, and there was something in him that I could tell he would miss in letting her go. And even myself, I had become very attached to her, just seeing her growth from the day she came to us, this scared, very, very malnourished little puppy, to who she is now. I love you, Linda. You're so comfy. But I need a drink of my tea. This is what we've been waiting for. Thank you. Like, sick days are not bad when they're like this, right? She's got a lot of judgment in her face. So also, do you like that I'm working this camera now? I'm like, jump scare. Yep. Okay. So we knew if we were going to adopt Linda, we would need a source of support, and a big source of support, meaning somebody that was going to jump in and be able to take care of Linda and take her under their wing whenever we traveled, which is a lot. With my previous 2 dogs, Duke and Jackson, I met this girl called Kat that worked for a doggy day company way back when, and I hit it off with her really well. We got along. She would take them and home board them, so she would have my 2 dogs at home with her while I was away, which was the perfect scenario. She then ended up going on her own path and doing home boarding for herself, and I followed her. I trusted her with my life, with my dogs, with my kids. She dog sat Duke and Jackson for the 8 years that I had them here. She was even there the day that I left to go to Dancing on Ice to say bye to them. She actually took them to the airport to get on the plane to go to England because I had to leave a few days earlier. Like, she has been my rock when it comes to being able to have a companion at home while doing the everyday life and the traveling and the crazy career that I have. The timing couldn't have been better when we wanted to adopt Linda. We reached out to Kat and Solo, her other half, and they were mentioning to us that they were actually opening up their own space, their own place called All the Dogs Clubhouse, ATD. ATD has become Linda's second home and her favorite place on earth. It is a doggy day company and full boarding and grooming space. It's in the village here in Montreal, and it's so accessible for us. Linda goes to daycare however many days a week she needs to, or we feel like she just needs to like shred and like have fun with dogs. And boarding, like Kat takes Linda every time we go away, and Kat and Solo take Linda and many, many, many other dogs to her home. I remember at Christmas, she sent us a picture of 8 or 9 dogs, all with little Christmas bows, because she had that many dogs at boarding. But she's a master at what she does. She loves dogs just as much as she loves humans. Her and Solo have built this empire in the dog world in Montreal. And this is something that Montreal has really been missing. And they've brought a community of people together that needed this. And the space is stunning. The people that work there, they have been a godsend in our life and our family. And they're the reason why we were able to adopt Linda and have her and give her the life that she deserves, because she's very spoiled. So big shout out to ATD. You have been a huge, huge part in our life and Linda's life, and still are to this day. And I hope more and more people learn about you guys, because it's a game changer. Some skating friends of ours have taken their dogs to daycare and boarding, and they're like, wow, this is so much easier. And we're like, yeah, right? Back to skating life. I am currently struggling with a flu, a cold, a sickness. We got back from China the other week, and I feel like I've been fighting something ever since. It's also the change of seasons. We went from 20-degree weather to 5-degree weather. And I haven't been sick in a while, so I guess it's about time. But no days off. Like, what's that? I don't know what that is. Suck it up. I have been sleeping as much as I can, taking as much medicine as I can, and just like fueling my body with the right things. So I'm back on track. I've been minimizing my day a little bit. So I go to the rink, I do my job, I get in everything that I need to do, because we've had a lot of changes since China. So we really need to like knuckle down, put our heads in the right place, and just focus on making those changes and being strategic over the next couple of weeks, because we're resetting, we're back on track. We're leaving for Finland in 2 weeks now. Just trying to stay healthy, stay in one piece, trying to fight this cold one day at a time. In next week's episode, I was hoping to do a little Q&A, which I'll be posting on my Instagram story. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. And then we'll add those questions, and I'll be answering them here on the podcast, whatever this is. We will be coming up with a name. I'm going to be putting the list of names down. We're going to put them in a poll, and we're going to narrow them down. And this will have a name soon. I promise. Thank you for watching episode 3, and I hope you enjoyed my out of the rink personal stories, mainly about dogs at this point. So hope to speak. Oh my God. I just said hope to speak to you all soon. Like on a conference call. Hope to speak to you soon. Oh, God. Adios, amigos. Ciao.